Hi, Phil Aston here from Now Spinning Magazine with another edition of the review show. In this one, I will be reviewing Sharks, who I mentioned in the last show, but forgot to actually include them. So they are going to be in this one. There's also going to be Alan Parsons Project and Tales of Mystery and Imagination. Nektar were in the last edition, but this is the super deluxe version of that album, and I'll talking a little bit about the differences there. Larkin Poe are on this one. A band called... I have to get my glasses for this one because I have been trying to rehearse how to say this. But it's To Cross or To Burn by Venom Morris, which features the drummer from Slayer. But it's a really interesting album. Circus. Just need to interrupt that other bloke. The name of the band is Circa 5. Not Circus, whatever he said. It's a great album and it's going to be in the show very soon. So Circa 5, back to him. Also, a band called Wardruna and Burner, which is like Norwegian folk horror prog metal. Very, very different. Dream Theatre. Also, in the world of vinyl, I've got Mudhog. So I'll be going through all of these. So I'm saying this up front, so some of you want to just skip through to the bit you're interested in. A band called Arliston, which is superb. I've all got something for your children as well. If you've got kids, I've got something for them as well. That'll be right at the end, so I'll keep that as a surprise. Soft Machine in the reissue area. From my own homeland of Cornwall, I've got JB3, which is a blues folk band. Fifth Daughter on that great Fruits of the Mer label. And then a really rare reissue by a band that people think of being called by Rodin, but that's the name of the album. But the band was called Max, which is a great fusion album. I think that's everything I've got for this episode. So now I'm going to dive in and tell you what I think. And the first one is going to be Sharks. This is a band that featured Andy Fraser from Free as the band kind of spun out of control in the early 70s. This is where he went next, after Toby. So his first real band. So before I talk about what I think of it, let's have a look inside the box. This is Sharks, Car Crash Supergroup, the Island record years 1973 to 1974. A mere year. Booklet last of all. Sharks. There's the Sharkmobile. This has got bonus tracks on, which are really good. Jab It In Your Eye. Very unnerving cover, I always found that. And then Car Crash Tapes, which is live stuff and demos. And then the booklet. So I just show you the back. Just lists the tracks there. The booklet also just lists the tracks. You've got some live tracks as well. These are quite, bootleg quality in a way. And then you've got the essay telling you about the band with surviving members of the band in there as well. There isn't a picture of Andy Fraser in this box set, which is unusual considering it was his first major thing after leaving Free and Toby. But I love that picture of the car. And some cuttings there in the middle. Some other pictures there. The marquee and the obligatory tape boxes as well. So you've got a picture of Andy there from the back of the first cover. So that is Sharks. Car Crash Supergroup. So that's Sharks. It's a 3 CD clamshell box. It's really well put together. It's on the Lemon label. It's part of Cherry Red. I've got the first album on CD. I've always liked it ever since I bought the Songs of Yesterday box set by Free. There was a couple of tracks in there by Sharks, and that was the first I'd ever heard of them. But I really liked the vocals on it. Some people have said, there's not enough pictures of Andy Fraser in the booklet, but I guess he was on the one album. What this project has tried to do is focus on the overall band. I personally prefer the first album, although the second one I feel has higher production values I do prefer the first one, not so much because Andy's on it. I just like the songs more. The second album is really good, and I'll be honest, I haven't owned this before. It's got that quite unsettling artwork where the eyes are painted on top of the eyelids. But it's a good album, but it's kind of typical of this period. If you're into British hard rock from this period and you like Free, this is going to be on your shopping list if you haven't got it already. And the remastering of the original albums is really good. The third one, Car Crash Tapes, is stuff they were working on for a possible third album, which of course they never did. There is a little bit of wow and flutter on the recordings. It's been taken from really old tapes. It sounds absolutely fine, but there is that essence of that kind of warble. It's not distorted, but you know what I mean. Those of you from the world of tape will know that there's just something about it that it isn't quite studio quality. The live stuff, however, is for real hardcore fans. It is bootleg quality, but I can understand why they've included it. And they've basically sprinkled the live stuff across all the discs, really. So it's recorded live in Providence on May the 23rd, 1974. This is on the first album called First Water. And it does sound... It's bootleg quality. There's no other way of putting it. And Jab It In Your Eye. Again, there are some live tracks, and they are also from May the 23rd, 1974. So it is that kind of record. But it's interesting because you're obviously hearing the band introduced us for the first time from the UK, new band called Sharks, etc. So there's a historical aspect to this, but it's not the kind of thing that I personally are going to play probably more than once, I'm just saying. But there is no better way of picking up these two albums, than in this set. And it's quite well priced, and I've always loved that car with the shark's teeth on the front. Sharks. So that's out now on Lemon as part of Cherry Red. What do I have next? Next, I have Larkin Poe. Confession time here from me here at Now Spinning Magazine Towers. This is the first album by this band I've ever heard, and a lot of people within the Facebook group and friends that I've got since I've been doing this have said, Phil, you need to listen to Larkin Poe. They're a great band. And another part of our review team has actually written a review which is on the Now Spinning Magazine website, who absolutely loves this. So I've got a copy, and I have to say I absolutely love it. It's like a lovely little kind of replica vinyl album. Is a CD, so an inner sleeve with the pictures of the sisters there, and also a fold-out sheet with all the lyrics on as well, with a picture of them on the other side. It's blues rock, which is one of my favourite genres of music. There's great slide guitar playing, wonderful vocals, absolutely superb stuff. Some of my favourite tracks are Easy Love Part 1. It's a fantastic song. It's also like a ballad, but wonderful guitar playing, fantastic vocals. Nowhere Fast is a great rock song. Absolutely love that. And If God Is a Woman is another one of my favourites as well. There's a kind of country feel to the last few tracks of the album, and especially the last one has got a real kind of laid back but very soulful, almost gospel feel to it. But the guitar playing and the vocals are superb. They really are a great band, and this has given me the kind of curiosity now to go off and listen to the rest of their back catalogue. And of course you can in the comments tell me which album I should listen to next, and have you got this and what do you think? How does it rate with the other albums by this band? Absolutely fantastic. Next, it's time for Alan Parsons. Alan Parsons Project. I've spoken to Alan Parsons, and I'm not saying that just a name drop, but it was a great honour to talk to the man. I've I've reviewed the box set here, which was the vinyl one, which is completely out of print now. You won't be able to find that, and it's never going to be reissued. And obviously, I also looked at the Pyramid Super Deluxe set as well. Now, we are going back to 1976 and the Mystery and Imagination album. I've been playing this a lot, and I haven't really played it that much, I would say, since those early years. And in fact, I'll be honest and say that in 1976 there was so much going on, and so many things being released that were trying to find my apprentice wages. I didn't get it, and when I did get it, I got it as part of this little Diddy box set, which had all the albums in, which of course the vinyl one mirrored in some ways, but not quite the same, because those of you who know this album well know that originally they approached Orson Welles to do the narration. But for whatever reason, although he recorded it really quickly, it arrived too late to be included on the original recording. So when they did a remix in the late 80s, they put Orson Welles back in place, or in place perhaps for the first time. And they also tweaked around and added some extra keyboards and stuff. So that is the version that I know, because it's the one I played the most. This is the original mix, which was also the mix used in the vinyl box set. So although these two box sets look similar, the mix that was used for Tales of Mystery and Imagination is different. So it was a bit different for me to start with, because I was so used to hearing Mr. Welles do his bit. But what I've liked about playing this is that soon evaporated. This is the original mix, so it's not just Orson Welles, it's also the keyboards. Everything is the same, and it's been remastered really, really well, which it was on the original vinyl set. The design of the covers is slightly different on these reissues. So what I'm going to do is show you now the CD, the clear vinyl version, and the 2 LP 45 RPM half-speed remasters version. So here they are. So this is a look inside the Tales of Mystery and Imagination by Edgar Allan Poe. These are the 2 vinyl reissues and also the CD. So let's have a look at the CD first of all. It says expanded CD, million-selling, critically acclaimed debut album, originally released in 1976. A legendary prog rock masterpiece based on Edgar Allan Poe's work. A CD remastered the original 1976 album by Miles Showell, includes 4 additional bonus tracks and an illustrated 12-page booklet with lyrics and sleeve note quotes from Alan Parsons, Eric Wolfson. So you can see on the back here the bonus tracks are Dream Within a Dream, The Raven, an early mix, and there's Telltale Heart, Eric Guide vocal, and the Cask of Montaldo with Eric and Alan Guide vocals, and Dr. Tom, Professor Aether. So I'll just take this off so we can have a look inside it. So it's a gatefold digipack with the CD in the right hand side, mirroring the artwork, and in on the left hand panel is the booklet, which obviously I need to show you the right way around. And so this has got the images that were in the original vinyl copy, with the full story of the album, and then the lyrics and the other pictures that were also included in the original booklet with all the credits on the back. So that's that's the CD version. And then this is one of the vinyl editions. This is the clear vinyl version, which is a gatefold sleeve. Doesn't have the booklet in it, but it has a polyline sleeve, and again this is telling you a bit of information which I just read out from the CD as well. This is half speed remastered, as it says here, includes the sleeve notes, and it's a limited edition clear vinyl, 180 gram. It's a great pressing, and this comes with a sheet inside which has the story of the album on the other side, with the logo on the front. Next, we have the speed remastered 45 RPM version. This is a 2 LP record pressed from a master cut using high precision technique known as half speed remastering at Abbey Road Studios. This edition was expertly cut at half speed by Miles Sherwell at Abbey Road Studios in September 2024 on the customized Newman VMS 80 lathe using high resolution audio transfers taken from the original master tapes for the 2016 edition. So this is a double album at 45 RPM. So let's have a look inside this one. I'll just take off the outer layer. So this is little like sort of obi strip here. And opening up, it's the same gatefold as the other one that I've just showed you. This is also on also included polyline sleeves, but this is black vinyl. And the other difference with this is you've also got the sheet that you saw in the other vinyl edition with the story of the album. But the difference is on the other side, where you've got sides 3 and 4, is you also have this book, which has the original pictures and layout of the original vinyl version from 1976. All the lyrics and the nice sepia photos, etc. So that isn't in the clear vinyl version, but it's close. It's probably as close as you can get to the original vinyl version, which I'm showing you here, which had like this protective sheet, and then the booklet was actually part of the gatefold. Right, okay, that's the editions that are available now, and now I'll tell you what I think. So there you go. There's a lot to choose from there. This is my favourite Alan Parsons Project album, and I've been moving from the CD to the clear vinyl version to the 2 LP 45 RPM half speed remastered version as well. What I really like and what I've really kind of doubled down on is side 2. Or is that side 3? Yeah, side 3 on the double one. It's confusing, isn't it? Or I could say it's track 6 on the CD. It's the orchestral one. It is The Fall of the House of Usher. It's a beautiful piece of classical music, isn't it? It's an album within an album, as it says in the notes. It's just fantastic. And the CD sounds great. It really does. And the vinyl version on clear vinyl, I would say it sounds good as well. It's a good pressing. When I did the comparison between the 45 RPM 2LP version of Pyramid, I was completely blown away by the quality of it. And this is the only second one of these 45 RPM half speed remasters albums I have, and it's Alan Parsons. So I have to say, which one have I got here? Yeah, I've got the right one. But again, it's the 45 RPM pressing that sounds the most impressive. Yes, you do have to get up every 10 minutes or so, 8 minutes or so perhaps in some cases, but it is absolutely stunning. Great pressings and a fantastic album. And I think that there's a lot of Alan Parsons albums where he's seen as prog, and a lot of his later albums are more kind of pop really. It's all about songs, etc. But this one is a cornerstone, I feel, of progressive rock. And there are some real Floydian aspects of it as well. You can see, obviously, this is the first album by the Alan Parsons Project. Alan Parsons being so well known because of Dark Side of the Moon. John Marsden's on here, The Crazy World of Arthur Brown. Arthur Brown's on it as well, singing. The songs, the production, it's a timeless album. And I think that this gave me the opportunity to listen to it again, but also I've played it. I would say, how long have I had this in the house? I've probably had this about 2.5 weeks, and I'd say I've played it every other day. Sometimes, in fact, there was one day last week, I think I played it 3 or 4 times in succession. But I absolutely love the orchestral track version, The Fall of the House of Usher, because of the way that moves into, the other songs as well. But I have to say that I've said this a lot about this kind of music and this period, especially this kind of music. Would I have felt the same when I heard this if I'd heard this in 1976? Because there weren't many of my friends at that time who bought this. Alan Parsons came in from the background with later albums. And then when I dipped in, I wasn't quite sure. But now, obviously, I've got the whole catalogue. But this is definitely my favourite album. If you're into Alan Parsons and you already have the previous vinyl box set, that was remastered by the same people, and that's got the same thing, the booklet, etc. you just saw. So the double album has the booklet in, the single album doesn't, which the original one did. So you've got a choice here what you want to do, or you can get that with the CD. But this is a fantastic entry point to Alan Parsons. Although I got waxed lyrical, literally, on Pyramid, this album is a high watermark in Alan Parsons' career. And this is out now as a double album, 45 RPM half-speed remaster. Sounds great. Clear vinyl or CD as well, which is absolutely fantastic as well. Where are we going next? Next is a new band for me, which is, I just want to make sure I pronounce this right, Arliston and Disappointment Machine. So I want to show you inside this because it comes with a great little book. This is Arliston and Disappointment Machine, and I just wanted to show you this because it's such a wonderful design. It's a gatefold sleeve with all the lyrics on the right hand side. But why I wanted to show you, it's a black vinyl album, is the booklet which comes with it, because it's quite unusual for a booklet to be like this in a vinyl set. And I really love this. It's got the lyrics in again, lots of stories and pictures, and it gives you kind of a deeper insight into the album and the artist. So I really like this, and I'll tell you more about it when I get to the end of this. But I really like this album. It's super stuff. I'm not quite sure whether this is with every vinyl album, but it's great, and it's a wonderful pressing as well, I have to say. I'm going to put it in a polyline sleeve, but it sounds marvellous. That's Arliston and Disappointment Machine. So that's a look at Arliston and Disappointment Machine, and I wanted to show you that because I felt that this little booklet that came within the album, with all the illustrations and photographs and all the lyrics, I felt that was a really wonderful touch in bringing the music closer to you, the listener. It certainly was the case here. They mention in the press release that this is for fans of Bon Iver, but I would also say it's for, as Sue said, for musicians like Ben Howard and fans of Ben Howard. But for me, the reference point was Tim Bonus, and especially the work he's done with No Man and Stephen Wilson. That kind of melancholy, soft music that gives more with each listen. And it is one of those albums. It is a reflective album. It's they put in their notes that they sent to me. It's about things like heartbreak and the fragility of love and that kind of thing. But I felt it was a very joyous album when we played it a lot here. And as I said, it gives more with each time. But I love the attention to detail that what they put together here is a vinyl album. It's a great pressing, gatefold sleeve. And, to put together a booklet like this to really draw you in. And that's what you want from music now. It's something that's tangible. And I think for younger music fans, you could probably stream this. But would you have the same kind of intimate connection to the music and the artists and the storytelling? I know that the human heart tells the story when you hear the lyrics and it's your own experience. But I think this kind of thing is really, really, it's really interesting. And I absolutely give it 100% of my support. So please give this a listen. It's a great album and great songs. And I just want to finish on before we move on, really, because I do want to make sure that I give you as much of an overview as I can. I can't play it for copyright reasons, but you go away and stream it. Arliston, Disappointment Machine. I will say this is quite funny. When it arrived, the box said, prepare to be disappointed, which is a strange way of greeting me, because as you know, I always say that music is a healer and a doctor. So I thought, what's this going to be like? But I absolutely love the music, and we've had it on. We've been. If I say this now, some of you think it's background music. It isn't. I've played it when we've had the lights down low and it's been in the evening. We've put something on rather than watching the news, and we've really enjoyed it. We've had it on when we've been eating our tea. And the songs, as I said, give more back with each listen. But give it a spin. Stream it first and then support the artist. So Arliston and Disappointment Machine. And now it's time for a t-shirt change. And next up is Circa 5 with their album Clockwork Chulpa. This is a new prog band to me. British prog band. It's the story of grey a troubled character moulded from birth by a mysterious circus organisation. It's not just storytelling. It's a reflection of how people navigate the trauma of tough childhoods without falling prey to isolating belief systems. Sounds very deep, but musically, it's absolutely wonderful. This comes in a CD media pack. If you buy it directly from the band's Bandcamp page, you can get it signed. It's got all the lyrics, great little booklet, etc. You also can download exclusive tracks as well if you buy the physical item. So what's it sound like? Well, Steve Tilling is one of the founding members behind this band, and the first track kind of threw me because I was expecting like progressive rock, modern prog, and which this is, but the first track kind of had a kind of really energetic pop rock feel to it, almost like XTC. And then I found out that Steve had actually played with members of XTC, but it changes, it morphs as it goes through the story into very much UK-driven, pastoral, uplifting, progressive rock. All of you want to have a reference point, don't you? If you know this band already, Circa 5, then you already know maybe what I'm going to say, and you'll probably throw in some of your own ideas as well. But to me, trying to think of how to bring some of you in to support this band and listen to this music, I would say if you are a fan of Big Big Train, if you're a fan of The Tangent, Beardfish perhaps, but mainly The Tangent and Big Big Train, because of the UK perspective on this, then I think you'll love this band. It's clean instrumentation. It's not distorted, jagged chords. It's rich melodies, lots of really clever keyboard runs, guitar runs, etc. But it's got that kind of Big Big Train uplifting feel to it. Great songs, melodic, as I've said, lush instrumentation. It's quite fast moving. That's how it feels. But it's a great album. They're called Circa 5, as you can see here on my T-shirt. And if you go to the Bandcamp page, there's posters, there's unreleased tracks, there's all sorts of things you can get directly from the artist to support them. This is their second album, as I said. The first one is really good as well, but this is the one to really focus on, I feel, to support the band. Clockwork Chulpa. It's a great concept album. Big Big Train, The Tangent, sprinkling the Beardfish over there, but 100% Circa 5. So support them. They're a great band. And now it's time for yet another T-shirt change, but back to where I started. Next, we are going to Norway, everybody. Okay, got your passports? Here we go. Make sure I hold this the right way up. So, who are these guys? This band is called Wardruna. I have to keep looking at that because, as you know, sometimes new bands, the names kind of takes time to stick, but especially when obviously this is in Norwegian, and the album is called Burner. It's about bears. I'll make sure I put it the right way up. and it's superb. I'm going to have to read a bit from the press release on this, but I know there's quite a few people in their Facebook group have said, Phil, you have that. I do. From the deep woods emerges Burner, Wardruna's 6th studio album. I need to listen to the others. I have been streaming this before I got hold of a physical copy. Through its restless dialogue with nature, main composer Elnar Selvik has been searching for the voice of the bear, the she-bear of the Old Norse legends. It is a work of art dedicated to the guardian of the forest, nature's caretaker, and her battles here on Earth. I'm going to have to describe this in a minute. Wardruna draws inspiration from immersion in nature, and the dialogue takes place between all creatures, forces, and energy present. Look them up, look at them. There's a whole bunch of them in the woods. Where else would they be for a Norwegian band but in the woods, playing organic instruments? This is very earthy. There was a kind of feel towards Lunatic Soul's Riverside offshoot, and that one they did, which was like folky, proggy stuff. But this is chanting and rhythms and percussion and nature and very, what did I put? Mystical, dreamlike, chanty, tribal, or kind of choirs, kind of like chanting in the woods after dark under candlelight. And some of the tracks are like, well, one track in particular, nearly 15 minutes long, goes through so many different things. It's meditative. It's very different. This isn't on some obscure label either. It's on Sony Music. It's their 6th album. This band has a huge following, of which I only now am I beginning to appreciate within my own kind of now spinning community, really. But I really like this, and I have started to stream some of the others, so it may be time to revisit their back catalogue. But if you want something different, and when I played this first time, Dan, my eldest son, was in the room visiting us, and he really liked it. And there's something very hypnotic about the music. It is completely authentic and real, and these people mean it. This is a really hardcore group of musicians singing from the heart about something that means a great deal to them. But it's really interesting. So Wardruna and Burner, give that a listen. It's very different. Right, we're on to the next one, which is easy for me to pronounce, and something I've also featured before, and that is Nectar. This is the bigger box set from the 2 CD version I showed you in the last episode. So why have I gone here? Well, I've got the other Nectar Super Deluxe editions and felt that I didn't realise that this was out as well. This is Journey to the Centre of the Eye by Nectar. I didn't expect to be doing another unboxing on this particular set so soon, but of course I love the first one as much. I've gone for the bigger box as well. So this is very much like similar box sets from Esoteric, who do this stuff so well. They've obviously done this with Nectar before, and also Barclay James Harvest, Jack Bruce, etc. So 6 discs, including a Blu-ray. And here you are, here are the discs themselves. So you've got them, if they've got gatefolds, single sleeves, and also the booklet, which I'll come to last of all. So this is the first one with the gatefold sleeve. And this is the original stereo mix. And the next one, gatefold sleeve, and this is the new stereo mix. CD2, the Boston tapes, which is also on the 2 CD set. And then we have CD 4 and 5, which is live at Bessinger Turnhall in Germany on November 1971, of which there are 2 discs for that. And then disc 6 is the Blu-ray, which includes the high-resolution 5.1 surround sound mix and the remaster and the new stereo mix as well. The booklet is obviously bigger than the 2 CD set. There's far more photographs in this. The essay follows the same pattern as the smaller set. There's a little bit more, as I say, there's more photographs, so it's more immersive than the 2 CD set. It's more pictures of records and singles, etc. Recording details and dates, and then a story about the tracks, and then the track listings and a few more pictures. Obviously there's more discs. And then the actual credits for this reissue. Everything's being remixed by Ben Wiseman and sounds fabulous. So that is Nektar, Journey to the Centre of the Eye. So there, quick look inside this Nektar Super Deluxe Edition box. I'm going to just focus finally on the Blu-ray disc, because that's the core part of this in a way, is that this has the remixed version of the album, the remastered version, and obviously the 5.1 HD surround sound mix as well. And which one do I prefer? The original mix will have things like the vocals are in one speaker for a part of the song, then they come over to the centre, or different things like that. It's more balanced. The sound stage in the remix to me sounds more immersive. But obviously the surround sound mix to me is the one that I'll be listening to the most. I think it's superb. The other thing it has, I just want to add, on the Blu-ray, is a little clip, this little promo video, not of a specific song. It's really of its time, but it's charming. It's in black and white, and it shows people arriving for a gig, allegedly a Nektar gig, but obviously, judging by the age of the patronage, it's probably a classical concert, but they've made out as if Nektar are about to appear on stage. And when it segues into Nektar on stage, they're actually in a farm surrounded by cattle. And then it basically shows the band larking about on bicycles, going and falling over in the snow in Germany sometime in 1970. It's quite long, and it features music from one of the other live discs. Now, the live discs that come in this box, it is like you're standing at the back of a very large room. So it's not like a live recording which is being recorded where you feel as if you're in the third row. On this, you're in the back row in the upper stalls. So just be aware of that. It works really well with the footage, because you just feel like that's where you are. But when you play the music in isolation, your ears will need to adjust to the fact that you're listening to something which is an archival recording, but nevertheless, a great part of the Nektar story. So next up is also from Esoteric and Cherry Red, and it's Soft Machine and Softs from 1976. This is Roy Babington, John Etheridge on acoustic electric guitars, Alan Wakeman on soprano, tenor saxophones, John Marshall on drums, Carl Jenkins on piano, electric piano, pianette, and Moog. Oh, this is great. Owning this on vinyl is fantastic. I've only ever had it on CD before. From 1976, what a year. While I was listening to Rainbow Rising and Presence by Led Zeppelin, I didn't know this was going on. So now to have the opportunity to find this stuff and listen to it as it was supposed to be is fantastic. Tracks 2 and 3 are just crazy guitar fusion, fantastic playing, wonderful keyboards. One of the songs here, which is Song of Ilias, is beautiful. And it segues into Out of the Season fantastically as you put side 2 on. And the other one, the Camden Tandem, has got an absolutely blistering solo guitar and drum section, absolutely lightning fast. It's while I was listening to all the obvious rock guitarists, I didn't realise that in just through the door marked jazz fusion, there were guitar players like John McLaughlin and John Etheridge doing stuff like this. There were others, Alan Holdsworth, also dabbled with the softs. But the guitar playing on this album is just off the scale. It really is. And my other favourite track is 1 over the 8. Absolutely spellbinding jazz rock, jazz fusion from the UK, from Soft Machine and Softs from 1976. Next up is Mudhog, another band that's very new to me, and this is a very limited edition album. It's a double vinyl album, gatefold sleeve. Both records come in polyline sleeves. One of them is green, and the other one is kind of an orange colour. What's it like musically? It's Sabbath, Zeppelin, Rainbow, Hendrix. It's got Steve Hamm on bass, ex-Joe Satriani, Steve Vai, John Mover on drums, ex-Vai and Marillion, and it's recorded at the Kinks studio. And the main guy, I'm going to bring this up online for me to see, because it's a lot of information to take in, because this is so new to me. It's a very limited edition album. There are only 300 copies. It's Armand Serra on guitars, and Armand has got such a collection of guitars that each track features a very famous guitar on it. So there are guitars owned by Richie Blackmore, by Pete Townsend, by Jimi Hendrix, and so there's a different kind of feel to the tracks as you go through. This is very much, as I said, British rock. British classic rock. The only criticism I have on some of the production feels a little bit mismatched on some of the tracks, especially the opening track sounds absolutely massive on my system, and the second track sounded more kind of distant. So although the whole thing is very raw, I think I put in my very live sounding 70s, 80s rock. Instead of it feeling like the band's right in front of you, it feels like they're further back. So you're further back towards the back of a club, not a massive stadium. So there's just something about the production to me, that as I turn it up, the band still sounds a bit further away. On the second track, some of the tracks not so much. So although it all says it's recorded in the same place, I don't think it was recorded at separate times. I haven't read any detail on that. But it's a very raw rock album. And you can tell the difference between the different guitars being used. And it is interesting how that is put together. But if you're into rock as the bands that I've mentioned, give this a listen. You can stream it. I hope that if you're going to do 300 copies, that's your first run, and there's going to be more once this sells out, which I'm sure it will. So give this band, Mudhog, a listen and see what you think. It's got some stellar musicians on it, great playing, and it's mudhog.co.uk, and see what you think. So we're nearly the end now, and the next one is a band called Fifth Daughter. This is on the fantastic Fruits de Mer record label, who I absolutely love this label. It's the label that gave me access to Syndelica. And this is early Floyd. This is Gong, but without the kind of childhood, kind of eccentric kind of feel to the songs. It just has that feel to it. That songs, it's not like just ambient meanderings. They are real songs, but it has a beautiful feel to it. What did I put? Yeah, there's more space around the lyrics and stuff, but it's great. It's a great album. And if you're into Gong and early Floyd, it has that feel, but they are themselves. They're not trying to emulate those bands. There's just elements of it. Obviously, when you've been on the planet as long as I have, you kind of pick up reference points. But it's a great album, and anything Don Fruits de Mer is worth listening to. And it comes with a poster as well, with the lyrics on for one of the tracks as well. So that is Fifth Daughter, Stellar Season, which is also out now. And next up is something that's very close to where I live. This is a local band with an album where only 200 have been pressed to start with, a gatefold sleeve, and the band are called JB3, and the album is called The Road Not Travelled. This is folk blues from Gunner's Lake in Cornwall in a polyline sleeve, I must add as well, on a wonderful black vinyl. The band consists of multi-instrumentalist Keith Carter, vocalist Sue Goodman. She's a great vocalist, great voice. Guitarist Ted Baker. The band have been together for quite a while. And they came together when Keith retired to Cornwall after spending 18 years living in Nashville, Tennessee, and where they played. And since they've been together, they played jazz and blues covers, and then they started writing their own material. It's absolutely wonderful, upbeat, folk blues. As I said, great harmonica player as well, great vocals. So this album is out now. And you can find them online. In fact, I can tell you now, it's jazzblues3.com. The album comes out in March the 7th, and there aren't many of them. But it'd be great to support them. Great Cornish band. Next up is Venamoris, To Cross or To Burn. This has just come out, and this features Dave and Paula Lombardo. Now, Dave Lombardo is the drummer in Slayer, and this is very different to Slayer. Although it has a couple of pretty heavy rock moments, most of it is not like that at all. In my notes, I just put Portishead. Those of you like Dummy by Portishead, that kind of electronica feel, that dreamy kind of keyboard layering and reverbed female vocals will love this. It's very different if you're coming at it from where Dave has been before, but if you're coming at it from what this sounds like 90s electronica, you'll love it. It does have a very unusual cover version on in respect to what I've just described, and that cover version is Animal Magnetism by the Scorpions. That is heavy and really interesting. And in fact, the track after that, called Numb, is also really rock orientated, but still has all this electronica type keyboard layerings and this kind of disconnected female vocal, but it sounds wonderful. I've really enjoyed this album, and I've played it a lot, and I'd never heard of them before. So give this a listen and let me know what you think. So the band is called Venom Morris, and it's To Cross or To Burn. And now Dream Theater and Parasomnia. It's interesting how some people have kind of said they're disappointed with this, whereas other people have been absolutely over the moon about it. When I put this on, and I guess I should tell a bit about how I feel about Dream Theater, because I have every album by them. I have every studio album and nearly all the live albums. And I've always buy them. I feel like obliged to, because I've got everything. And I bought the solo albums by Jordan, the solo albums by the vocalist, the guitar player, everybody. So I'm a completist with Dream Theater. But I'll be honest, and some of the albums I've played them, or I've played bits of them, and I've kept thinking I'll keep going back to that because of how I feel about the band to kind of more recent stuff. You know, was it System of Chaos? I think I really like Octavarian, was one of my favourites, especially the track Octavarian. And there's various marker points in their catalogue which I absolutely love. But a lot of the time, I'm kind of thinking, I'm almost knowing what to expect. Train of Thought was really heavy, wasn't it? There's a reason I'm mentioning that, is that Portnoy's back in the band. And I was always thinking, because, you know, Portnoy's done so many different things, that I thought, will it really make that much a difference? Because I really liked, you know, the drummers I've had, you know, since then. But this did make a difference to me, because I put this on, and it was a Saturday night, and I thought, well, I'll put this on before I sit down with Sue and watch something on the TV or something. You know, I know it's going to be about an hour long. There's going to be an epic track on it, and there is. And I thought, I'll just add this on so I've got a feel for it, and then I'll play it properly next week. As soon as it started, I couldn't stop smiling. Because this to me was classic Dream Theater. This reminded me of hearing them for the first time again. But they progressed. This was now, not then. They're not looking backwards, they're looking forwards, but they're taking everything with them. It's majestic, it's mysterious starting, it's epic. And the riffs, the guitar riffs are, and the way it's put together, I just couldn't stop smiling. To be honest, Mark Portnoy, he can make a drummer or last a verse. And the way he goes round the kit and the way that all the guitars and the production, this is just fantastic. And each track I just loved. I absolutely loved. I wouldn't know where to start really. I think track 4 is one of my favourites. Dead Asleep, 11 minutes long, killer riff. I love the ballad, Bend the Clock, Night Terror. I loved, and the Shadow Man incident, which is 19 and a half minutes long, is just fantastic. Markers in the Sand for me are Systematic Chaos, Train of Thought, Octavarian, perhaps Metropolis Part 2, but they're also my favourite albums, I think, excluding maybe the first 2 as well. There's so many, but this to me is the best album they've made for years and years and years. That's just how I felt. And at the very end of the last note of the last track, I just thought, wow. I just couldn't stop smiling. I experienced the whole thing, and I just wanted to play all over again. That's just my view on this album. Absolutely loved it. And I wasn't sent it, I bought it. I think it's fantastic. So that's the CD version. And last but one now. And next up is this. Now this is a very rare vinyl album that is now available again if you're quick. It's a double album. You can see all the musicians there on the side. It never used to be a double album. Who is it? What is it? This is a great story, actually. And I'm going to read a bit of this from a letter that was sent to me. It's from Josh Cortopassi. And he put, and we did this happened, something that happened last year. We exchanged emails about a record of my father is releasing from his band Max, titled Beyond Rodin, which is an expanded reissue of the 1974 album simply called Rodin. And I'm so pleased to feature this. The original album only had about 200 pressings, a bit like a lot of albums now in 2025, to be honest. And it was included in Patrick Lundborg's Acid Archives reference book. And it's become a collector's item. And it sells between $300 and $1,000 in America. And it's even sold as much as $1,200. So this is a 50th anniversary repressing in 180-gram vinyl in polylined sleeves. The original album was pressed from unknown source tapes with incorrect liner notes and released without any knowledge or authorization from the band, whose actual name was Max, who were active between 1970 and 1974. Beyond Rodin is remastered from the original master tapes and expanded with 8 additional tracks and features previously unreleased photos and extensive liner notes. Max was founded by 2 members of the Elastic Band, known for their notorious 1967 proto-punk cult favourite Spaz, as featured on Nuggets and Pebbles compilations. And over the course of their existence, Max featured musicians who either had or would later play with Pink Floyd, Toto, Jeff Beck, Jaco Pastorius, Blood, Sweat and Tears, and many others. The music can be described as brass rock or horn rock, with elements of jazz, rock, funk, soul, or prog. It's absolutely marvellous, this is. I would say it's fusion funk. It's prog funk. It is. It has got, there's lots of horns and stuff on it. It's very soul, especially on sides 3 and 4. Sides 1 and 2 are very much fusion music. If you're into jazz fusion with brass, this is an incredible recording. It's of its time. Some of it has kind of... what did I put down? Some of it has kind of a 60s feel, because some of the tapes obviously lean into that last decade before we entered the 70s. There is a kind of vocal feel to it, having that kind of late 60s American West Coast feel in the vocals, which just adds to it to me. It just adds to it. A bit like the Flock, but without the violins. It's just absolutely wonderful. The pressing is fantastic, and I absolutely love this, and I will cherish it. Thank you so much, Josh, for sending me this to listen to and to review. It's absolutely brilliant. And finally, for those of you with children who you're trying to encourage to get into record playing, and I'm going back, this is not your teenagers, perhaps, I don't know, tell me if I'm wrong, but if you've got young kids and you want them to get into record collecting, Mona 2 on vinyl, because who wouldn't love that? Look at that, a pop-up gatefold sleeve. And for those youngsters who want to be mesmerised by the vinyl, there it is, in tropical plum coloured vinyl. Isn't that superb? So that has been the review show at Now Spinning Magazine with me, Phil Aston. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Please comment below if you want to know more about any of the things I've been talking about, or if you want to be featured in next month's review show, then get in touch via the website at nowspinning.co.uk. For those of you who watch and listen, check out the podcast and, as I said, the website, Facebook group, WhatsApp group. If you become a patron or YouTube member, you can get access to the private Facebook group and WhatsApp group, and come along to 2 virtual meetups at our own virtual pub called the Now Spinning Arms. Plus, get discounts of Now Spinning merch as well. Remember, music is a healer and the doctor. Please take care, keep spinning those discs, and I'll talk to you all very, very soon.